Well, Christopher, thank you for the workbook. I've printed it off and I have to say it looks really good, very helpful in what is a very difficult topic for a lot of companies.
And thank you for downloading this workbook entitled Achieve Your Optimal Selling Prices. I'm here today at DASIC International on the southern coast of England, and I'm with John Belk, the Managing Director of DASIC International. Thank you for giving up your time, John. What we're going to do today is two things. We're going to focus firstly on how important this is to any company, getting the pricing strategy, pricing right. And then using the workbook, I'm going to share with you 3 hints on how to use this workbook really effectively. Okay, but before we start, John, could you just share with us a little bit about what DASIC does, where it's come from and where it wants to go?
Yes, certainly. Well, DASIC is an industrial chemical manufacturer. We produce cleaning chemicals for industrial markets, particularly the aviation industry and the food industry. Our food industry is a fledgling part of the company. It's one that we want to grow because it's very scalable. It's many times the size of our aviation market, so it's got good capacity for growth. But pricing in that market is particularly sensitive and particularly difficult.
And we're going to focus on that today, particularly in the food manufacturing market. That's where we're going to concentrate on today. But before we start, John, can you just share with us maybe 1 or 2 examples of some spectacularly bad mistakes in terms of pricing?
Well, I suppose the classic one that comes to mind is the Mark I Mini 50 years ago. The ramifications of getting the pricing of that wrong are still sitting with our automotive and indeed our entire manufacturing industry today.
And what did they do wrong with the Mini in Britain?
Well, they basically priced it to compete with what was an inferior car, inferior competition, and priced it to the point that they were making a loss on every vehicle.
Wow. And of course they could have sold it a lot more.
Yes.
They sold a lot, but they could have sold a much, for that volume, a much more margin.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the Mark I Mini, great car though it was, lost a lot of money because the pricing was wrong. In your own company, with these various divisions you've got, you have monthly board meetings, I think, etc. How often do you and your fellow directors focus on pricing, pricing strategy, pricing?
Well, to be brutally frank, it's not something we focus on in board meetings at all. And maybe we should, because the ramifications of getting this wrong are enormous. But I do tend to rely on my sales director, for example, to get the pricing right. It's not something we discuss in great depth, and I think we probably should.
Okay. John, you've got your copy of the workbook there. Can you just read from the title page what the purpose of it is, please, for us?
Yes. Okay, the purpose of this workbook is to assist you to refine your strategy for you to gain your ideal customers at optimal prices. The goal is that within 12 months, through your new pricing strategy, you substantially increase your profitable sales.
And John, we're going to focus on your food hygiene, food manufacturing business today, because this is the one you want to scale.
Yes.
I.e. with the right ideal customers. Some of these customers are really big manufacturers. Yes. What sort of problems are they facing with their customers?
Well, they are primarily supplying to the major supermarket chains, and the major supermarket chains have got very powerful buying strategies, so their margins are bashed down, their margins are heavily eroded. They have to keep their costs low, and obviously they have to keep their selling prices low to maintain their position in the marketplace.
Okay, most of these workshops start with what's the strategic problem. So if we turn to page 1, John, and it starts with the statement, successful companies implement price strategies or pricing strategies that focus on building their businesses to serve their most profitable customers. Many get rid of customers that are unprofitable. Easy to say, but that's what we've got to do. Unfortunately, because of poor pricing strategies, they can't identify these profitable customers. and they drive away their best customers. So the following is a list of 10 common mistakes companies make when pricing products and services. And this is possibly the starting point, the most important starting point. Could you just read a couple there of common mistakes that people make?
Certainly. Well, the first one, basing their prices on their costs. The second one, basing their prices on their marketplace.
Are you what the competition's doing?
Yes. Yeah. Or third one, attempting to get the same profit from different products, services.
And you have a range of products, don't you, even for this particular market?
Yes, we do.
And
yes.
across the thing. Okay. And there's 10 there. I would definitely invite you to go through this. Maybe there's some other ones that are relevant to your industry, but identify maybe 2 or 3 that are really key. And then most importantly in all these workbooks is what are your strategic conclusions? So that's at the bottom of the page is there. And next time you have a board meeting, I recommend you do this with your team.
Yes.
And come up with that and lead that particular workshop. Okay, so 3 hints on using this. On page 2, decide your pricing strategy. At the top of page 2 is a little matrix, little 2x2 matrix. Thanks, John. Okay. In the top left-hand quadrant, as you can see on your workbook, it's medium price, high quality. Right-hand quadrant 2, high price, high quality. Down here, medium price, medium quality, high price, medium quality is quadrant 4. So quality, price. Where, for the food manufacturing division, where do you see your positioning on using that matrix?
Yes, well, we are trying to sell a very high quality product into this marketplace. So we certainly sit
There's a pen there you might like to
in terms of quality on the high quality side. Pricing is a difficult one because it's a high quality product. We are sitting certainly at the medium price to high price end of the quadrant. In fact, if you pin me down, I'd probably put it about
Put a mark there. Put a mark on that sheet.
So I think we're in this sort of region here.
Okay. So hint number 1 is a starting point for using this workbook. First of all, as the business leader, and then download it again for your team. Get them to. And there may be a difference. And if there is, debate it and come up with your own conclusions. Because it is different for some of the other divisions you're in. It may be a different position, but
very much
for
so.
the food,
Yes,
it's
very
there.
much so.
Okay, so hint number 1 is decide where you fit on that matrix to help decide your pricing strategy. Number 2, the second hint, is on page 3. It's entitled Know Your Price Sales Sensitivity. So I've written it out here for you. As a graph, it's that one there at the top there. A complicated little matrix here. It's price increases versus sales decreases and gross margin. Let me explain. To put the thing in context, in this particular sector, what gross margin are you looking to achieve for food?
Well, it's very much like the same gross margin that our customers are looking to achieve as well, which is no more than 40%.
40% gross margin, so somewhere around about here. And if you decrease prices, then you need to increase the sales to compensate in order to maintain the margin.
That's correct, yes.
Similarly, if you increase margin, you can tolerate a sales decrease. Yes. And there are some figures there which may help you. But most importantly, do the calculation for yourself, do the thinking for yourself, and come up with your own chart, which is there. Make sense? Very much.
Yes.
It will depend on where you are. And in the sensitivity, John, if you look at the top of page, where it's emboldened there, the 3rd paragraph, just read that one out for our viewers, please.
Yeah. So, if you have demonstrated an important, urgent and high value solution, put up your prices by 5%. In the example below, at 25% gross margin, sales would need to fall more than 15% before a 5% price increase would have a negative effect on your percent margin.
Okay. Now, the economy, certainly in the UK and worldwide, is now picking up. We've had 5 pretty difficult years, but it's changed now. So definitely as a board strategy, look at your pricing, look at your price strategy, look at your price increases, and work out for yourself what you could afford to lose in terms of sales decreases before you would be affected. And in many cases, as you know from some of our experiences, people put up their prices and actually sales go up. It's kind of weird, but worth thinking about. So second tip is know your price sales sensitivity. And then the third tip, do this sometimes, John, but it's very much about taking action. You can do all this analysis and board strategizing, but it's about taking action. So, John, for the benefit of the viewers, just summarize what you plan now to do in terms of an innovative approach to pricing for the food manufacturing division.
Well, certainly the workbook has been really helpful to me here in stimulating my thoughts and how to get out of the problem of selling what is a high-cost product into a market that demands low-cost solutions. And it's made me think that the better way of approaching the marketplace is to forget unit cost altogether and actually put our materials in at a fixed monthly cost. The idea being that the customer knows exactly what they're paying. They know they're going to spend less than they have been doing before and get a much better quality product. And it puts the onus on us to make sure that they do in fact do what we claim they will do and use less material. So it's a really esoteric, different way of approaching the marketplace, and it's starting to show some considerable success. So I really appreciate the thoughts that have been given to me through this workbook. It's been very, very helpful.
John, that's a very bold, courageous step, and may I wish you every success with that. And thank you very much for giving us your valuable time today. And may I wish you every success going forward.
Thank you.